100 million, you'll be paying more. And this is why you see some people, instead of them setting a complaint, they are splitting their complaint into bits. So they could say, oh, let me form five company so that my turnover will be less than 25 million. Okay. So some of them are looking at different way of remaining small because of the benefits. But the key thing we are looking at is uh, we should not be deceived. We should bring a policy that will encourage transparency, accountability in governance, budgeting, budget implementation, procurement process, especially budget implementation. Implementation is very key so that the impact of tax will be felt by people. Okay, because this technique of moving the tax into high income earner, some of these high income earner may want to shift their investment into neighboring country, okay, with lower companies income tax. So instead of them investing in Nigeria, or even Nigerians that are well and buoyant, they may want to, in the long run, move to other countries with lower tax burden. Don't forget that some of these companies that are big, if they fail to file return, the penalty has now increased to 50,000 in the first month of late filing, and each month they pay 25,000 for each month, both for VAT and for CIT. And this is unlike what we have in the tax law that does require them to pay a penalty of 5,000 for each month for non-filing. Okay, and for company is 25,000 the first month and 5,000 subsequent month. Now this burden has been pushed completely to them. So when it comes to late penalty return, the medium and large entity, they will pay more for late penalty. And when it comes to taxes, if a large company, you are still paying your 30% as a large company. So if you're an investor with large fund, you may want to think of what can I do? Where can I put my investments? Okay. So, and tax again should encourage employment opportunity. So if large companies are beginning to think like, oh, I'm moving my investment out of Nigeria because I'm paying more penalties and my tax has not reduced, my rate has not reduced. What will happen to employment? And tax policy should be able to encourage employment by what we have in the tax policy. So again, we need to also look at the Finance Act. That's why I said, okay, what's the tax policy all about? What are we doing in action? Is really our action in line with the tax policy? Will our tax law really encourage economic growth and prosperity? Okay, so we need to look at it critically to say that this is what we want to do as a government. So, as I said, the bottom line is whether taxes are being paid by small, medium, or large entity, government should address the key issue of budgeting, the key issue of budget implementation, ensuring that there's accountability. If there's accountability at the local government level, if there's accountability at the state government level, there's accountability for taxpayer revenue at the federal level, people who don't have much problem. There's lights, there are good roads, hospital is working, education is working, all the infrastructure, security is there. The security, so the tax revenue, we know that they are all working. People, even though you are small, medium, or large, you'll be more responsible. And those are the critical issues. Okay, but of course, we've started something. And let's look at what we started. But these are discussion that we brought into limelight. Okay, so the stakeholder responsibility of stakeholder. The responsibility of stakeholder, we have the government. The tax policy tells you that the government are a very critical stakeholder in the Nigerian tax system. They are the one that make use of taxpayer money. Okay, all levels and arms of government, ministries and extra ministerial department and agency where applicable shall implement and regularly review tax policy and tax law. Okay, you could see the all levels of government, even at the local government level, they must implement the tax policy and tax law, provide information on all revenue collected on quarterly basis, and these are the critical issue. What the information on revenue collected, what are you doing with that? Why are you not giving us that information enough? in terms of what you use the fund for. And these are areas of policy discussion in terms of budgeting okay. We also have issue of ensure adequate funding, administrative and operational autonomy of the tax authority. There shouldn't there shouldn't there, there shouldn't be there should not be any part of government that will not pay tax. Some people believe that, oh, because I'm the friend of the chairman of FIRS or LIRS, then I should not pay tax. I'm a politician. I know I'm not appointed you as the chairman or the head of this tax authority. Therefore, no, the tax policy should ensure that you are autonomous. In terms of this autonomy, everybody, whether highly placed or not, must pay the fair amount of tax to the government. Now, ensure a reasonable and transition period between 3 to 6 months before implementation of a new tax law. That's being fair, and we see that, of course, there are some part of the tax law, like the thing for individual, that the government has decided to talk less about, that the tax identification number. Of course, that is in the Finance Act, for individual to have TIN numbers, but these have not been implemented. Okay, and other players in the tax system, you and I, we are the taxpayers, and individual organization entities. Okay, we are taxpayers. We are also within the tax system. The revenue agency, they're also critical players of the tax system. Okay, any agency responsible for collection and administration of revenue shall treat the taxpayer as customer. So are we being treated as customers? Okay, and this is part of the tax policy. Taxpayer should not be, treated with disdain, or with scorn. And this is very common in the tax office. You get to the tax office, you sometimes you may want to pay your tax and you get there late, they tell you they've closed. And you want to pay your tax, you want to file your returns. That was when it was manual filing. You send someone to the tax station, and they may get there at not even closing hour, 5 minutes. You see some of them, they before even close, they've gone. You accept, you meet, you argue with them, they stay. Sometimes you use diplomacy, to ensure that you file your tax return. So they must treat taxpayer as a customer. Okay, so that's very important, with respect, with dignity. Okay, ensure efficient implementation. That's ensure efficient implementation of tax policy, law, and international treaties. So this is another function of the revenue agency, whether at the state or at the federal level. Facilitate interagency cooperation and exchanges of information. And we are seeing on the NIM, the National Identity Management Commission. We have seen, like, immigration, customs, the FIRS. They have a kind of forum where they all interact just for information sharing. So this is going on now, and that means, as consultants, if you are consulting your a, for a customer, for a company, you know the position to take. If you are consulting for government, of course, your position might be quite different, because you are consulting for the state. So we also have undertake timely audit and investigation. Okay, now this is another function. After you've done your self-assessment, you file your tax return. Audit comes typically a year or 2 years after you file your tax return, just to ensure that you file the correct tax return. And there might be more audits. There might be more audits now because of the Finance Act. Because people are saying that, oh, my revenue is less than 25 million. My revenue is less than 25 million. And government wants to audit this to ensure that you are really a small company, or to ensure that you are declaring all your income. Okay, undertake tax awareness and taxpayer education. It's very important that you run jingles, you do a lot of things to ensure that there's tax, people are aware of tax, and the amount they will pay as tax and who they should pay to. whether at the federal, at the state, or at the local government level. People should not be kept in the dark. And this awareness should come in different languages, English, Igbo, Yoruba, all the dialect, so that people that are not well schooled, that are also taxpayer, will understand the importance and purpose of tax. Okay, establish a robust process to prevent the thefts and punish tax, I mean corrupt tax officials. Okay, so even